Chapter 8. Modeling Excellence Through Observation and Practice. Early thinkers such as Aristotle observed that virtues of character are acquired not merely through abstract instruction, but through habitual action, and that observing skilled or virtuous individuals provides clear models for those actions. A builder learns by building, a musician by playing, and similarly, a person cultivates steadiness by watching and practicing steady responses, or fairness by noting and replicating fair interactions. The observation serves as a living template, revealing what is possible when certain qualities are consistently expressed. This is not about blind copying or losing your own identity. True modeling involves discernment. You select a specific quality that resonates with your values and circumstances, study how it manifests in thought, word, and deed, and then adapt small elements of it to your unique life. The goal is not imitation for its own sake, but acceleration of your own cultivation of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, the foundational qualities that support a flourishing existence. Consider how this unfolds in everyday life. Suppose you wish to develop greater composure under pressure. You might notice someone who remains calm during heated discussions. They listen fully before responding, maintain even breathing, and choose words that de-escalate rather than inflame. Their physiology is relaxed yet attentive. Their focus stays on understanding rather than winning. You do not need to mimic their exact gestures or tone. Instead, experiment with one small aspect, perhaps pausing for a slow breath before replying in your next conversation, or directing your attention to the other person's perspective rather than immediately defending your own. Over repeated trials, this borrowed element becomes integrated into your natural repertoire. The same principle applies across domains. In relationships, observe someone who consistently demonstrates fairness and kindness, even in disagreement. They acknowledge the other's viewpoint without surrendering their own principles. They act with equity rather than favoritism. In your own interactions, you might practice one related behavior, voicing appreciation for a differing opinion before stating your own, or ensuring your actions align with treating others as you would wish to be treated. In creative or professional pursuits, watch for persistence in the face of setbacks, the quiet determination to return to the task after disappointment, adjusting approach without self-reproach. Adopt a single micro-action, such as resuming effort after a minor failure, with a brief moment of reflection on what can be learned. This observational practice gains depth when paired with the foundation established in earlier chapters. The clear distinction between what you can control and what you cannot. You cannot force yourself to instantly possess every admired quality, nor can you control how perfectly others model them. What remains yours is the choice to notice, to reflect, and to experiment with small, repeatable actions. External role models may come and go, succeed or falter, but your inner work of adaptation stays within your sovereign domain. Ancient reflections on virtue emphasized that character develops through habituation, the steady repetition of appropriate actions until they feel natural. Observation supplies the vivid examples that make those actions concrete and attainable. Without models, we might struggle to envision what courage looks like in daily moments, or how temperance balances desire with restraint. With them, the path becomes clearer. A person facing fear might recall an observed instance of steady action despite uncertainty and try a similar inward steadiness, naming the fear without letting it dictate the response. Someone working on balanced self-control might note how another moderates impulses through deliberate pauses and then introduce their own brief pause before acting on strong desires. To begin this practice effectively, follow a gentle, structured sequence that requires no external resources. 1. Selection. Choose one quality or trait you wish to strengthen. Keep it specific and aligned with the core virtues, perhaps steadiness in difficulty, fairness in relationships, or persistence in meaningful tasks. Avoid overwhelming yourself with many at once. Depth in one area compounds more effectively than breadth. 2. Observation. Watch mindfully for examples in daily life. This might be a colleague handling feedback gracefully, a historical or literary figure whose writings reveal their approach, readily available through public reflection, a family member showing patience, or even your own past moments of relative success in that quality. Pay attention not just to outward behavior, but to the underlying attitude, the focus of attention, the internal dialogue, the timing of responses. 3. Reflection. Ask yourself clarifying questions rooted in reason. How does this quality express itself in thought, in emotion, in action? What small piece feels adaptable to my current circumstances? How might practicing it align with living according to wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance? 4. Experimentation. Select one micro-action and practice it deliberately in a low-stakes situation first. Perform it once or twice today, then reflect briefly afterward. What felt different? What was challenging? What small adjustment might improve the next attempt? Treat each trial as information rather than judgment. 5. Repetition and integration. Repeat the action consistently over days and weeks. As habituation takes hold, the behavior becomes less effortful and more automatic. Gradually expand it to more varied or demanding contexts. Notice how it begins to support other areas of your inner citadel: clearer thinking, steadier emotions, more purposeful direction. Challenges naturally arise in this process. You may encounter moments when the observed quality feels distant from your current habits, leading to self-doubt. In such cases, return to the dichotomy of control. You cannot instantly transform your character, but you can choose the next small effort. Discouragement itself becomes material for practice. Observe it, apply rational perspective, and redirect toward continued experimentation. Another common obstacle is the tendency to idealize models to the point of paralysis. Remember that even those who demonstrate excellence in one area remain human, subject to the same mix of strengths and limitations we all navigate. The purpose is not perfection in replication, but progress in your own cultivation. Adapt freely. What serves one person's context may need modification for yours. Benefits accumulate quietly yet powerfully. As you incorporate elements of observed excellence, you experience greater ease in previously difficult situations. Interactions deepen because you bring more presence and fairness. Challenges lose some of their sting as you meet them with practiced steadiness or persistence. Over time, this modeling contributes to the integrated life described in the final chapter, a character that naturally radiates positive influence through consistent example rather than forceful effort. Historical and philosophical writings offer abundant illustrations without requiring any specific modern sources. Accounts of individuals who faced adversity with composure or who treated others with consistent equity provide timeless templates. Early reflections on ethics frequently highlighted how young people develop character partly by associating with and emulating those further along the path of virtue. The same mechanism operates across ages. We are shaped by the company we keep and the qualities we choose to study and practice. In solitude, when living examples are less immediately visible, turn inward or to recorded wisdom. Recall moments from your own life when you approximated the desired quality, even imperfectly. These personal precedents serve as internal models. Alternatively, consider universal human experiences: the parent showing patience amid chaos, the worker returning to a difficult task after setback. These archetypes live in collective memory and can be called upon for reflection. As with all practices in this protocol, compassion toward yourself remains essential. Progress is rarely linear. Some days the modeled action flows naturally, others require more conscious effort. View both as valuable data. The evening examination from Chapter 7 pairs beautifully here. Note where observation and practice aligned with your aims, where it fell short, and what small adjustment tomorrow might invite. This chapter builds directly upon the preceding ones. The sovereignty of distinguishing control, Chapter 1, prevents frustration when models or results fall short. Cultivation of core virtues, Chapter 2, provides the compass for what to model. Awareness of thought, feeling, action cycles, Chapter 3, helps you notice and redirect internal responses during practice. Habit formation through repetition, Chapter 4, explains why consistent micro-actions create lasting change. Purposeful aims, Chapter 5, Ensure modeling serves meaningful directions rather than distraction. Emotional Mastery, Chapter 6, and Daily Reflection, Chapter 7, supply the steadiness and feedback needed to sustain the work. Ultimately, modeling excellence through observation and practice is an expression of human connectedness and potential. We do not grow in isolation. We learn from the shared heritage of reasoned living and virtuous action across time. By engaging this capacity deliberately, you participate in an ongoing chain of refinement, drawing from what has been demonstrated by others, adapting it through your own reason and effort, and eventually offering your own example to those around you. Everything you need is already within reach. Begin today by selecting one quality and noticing one small, adaptable instance of it in your surroundings or memory. Perform one related micro-action with full attention. Reflect gently at day's end. Repeat tomorrow. Through this quiet, consistent process, the patterns of excellence become part of your own character, strengthening the inner citadel one observed and practiced step at a time. The path does not demand extraordinary conditions or resources, only your attentive presence and willingness to experiment. In doing so, you honor the timeless insight that we shape ourselves through the actions we choose to repeat, informed by the best examples available to our discerning gaze. Flourishing emerges not as a distant achievement, but as the natural outcome of such intentional living. Chapter 8. Modeling Excellence Through Observation and Practice. Human beings possess a remarkable capacity to accelerate their own development by observing the qualities and behaviors of others who embody what we admire. This process of learning through careful watching and thoughtful adaptation forms one of the most powerful pathways to growth available to us. Excellence in character, composure, kindness, or persistence does not need to be invented from nothing. It can be recognized in living examples and gradually woven into our own conduct through deliberate practice. Everything required for this form of advancement already resides within you. The ability to notice, reflect, and experiment with small changes in how you think, speak, and act. At its core, this approach rests on a simple yet profound truth drawn from ancient philosophical traditions. We become more like the patterns we repeatedly engage with.